Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of What You Know What It Is, the iConis podcast. Yes, and as always, I'm one of your hosts, Barry 3D Carter, always here to talk comic books and everything related. You want to see when we'll be at? Check the link down below and see me at barry3d.com to find out when I'm performing live. Just did a live show a little while ago with Touch of Gray Matter. Those are my boys. That's Zalf Ali, Dave Sokolowski. We have more coming up. And also did one just recently with Brandy Ford, who does The Writer and the Wit. She has her magazine out. Keep an eye out for it. See the link down below. Can't go wrong. And always on my side, the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, my friend, my cousin, my partner in crime, ride and die. Well, I'm not saying he's going to die for me, but we all know who I'm talking about. The one and only
Rod C. Good day, good afternoon, good after morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of iConis. We will get there as always.
Oh yeah, we will. We got to do the round table. So quick, always got to support the books, because without the books, we wouldn't have this show. We wouldn't have all the movies. We wouldn't have all the things we talk about. So check it out. Go over to Check Swings out in Kitchener, Ontario. Tell Wes and the rest of the guys we said hi. And if you're not sure, if you live someplace else, let's say in Montreal, then make the drive over to the South Shore. Check out Check Swings. Tell Trevor and the rest of the guys that we said hi. You never know. And we are coming up onto our 100th episode. So we're going to film that live from the Warehouse of Wonder out in Kitchener with Wes and the boys. You'll see us all there on the next one. So stay tuned. For everyone that stayed tuned with the show so far, thank you. We're coming up to our 100th episode. This is episode number 99. 100th around the corner. Couldn't do it without the fans listening in. Thank you for everyone to jumping in and checking out the podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share, rate, and review. For those who check out our podcast on YouTube, we have the community tab. We have polls up there. We have some posts up there. Please interact. Don't be shy. We won't bite.
Come on in. Come on in.
Unless you say that Superman is the best Avenger.
Still come on in. No. Still come on in. We'll have a discussion.
Oh, we will have a discussion.
Show you. We'll just have a nice discussion and explain Superman is not an Avenger. And we'll leave it at that.
Right. Okay.
Right on.
Cool.
Save a life, soul, man.
Thank you. Now, as always, the man that makes us look so pretty, the man that does all the templates. If you want to do something similar like what we're doing, or if you have a business and you want to promote it, no matter where you are, be it in Canada, USA, or all our listeners that are around the world, because we do have some, they're just awesome. So shout out to all you guys who listen and download the show. You can have the same thing do also. And if you mention you heard about this individual on our podcast, he will give you a discount. Rod, who am I talking about?
J Bird Digital Art.
J Bird Digital Arts. You check out Jason. You tell him, it's like, hey, I heard about you on the iConis podcast. He's like, hey, what do you need done? By the way, I'll give you a discount. That's our guy on there, And Jason, all the times, thank you for all the love you've given this show each and every episode. He always makes a comment down there. So follow Jason's suit. Add a comment. Jason's always got something nice to say. So Jay, for you, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, brings us down to the character we're talking about today. You see the name, you're not sure who it is, and we like to bring you these hidden gems. We are talking about Cardiac.
Clear!
By Marvel Comics. Now, right, did someone have a heart attack? Don't know. No.
Clear! No, not yet. Too early.
Make sure you're not no jewelry on when he says clear. What?
Sorry, my bad.
I'm seeing stars, man. That's right. We're talking about Cardiac, and now Cardiac, interesting. Might be known, might be unknown. I like the character. He's more new, right? When I say new, he's not been existing for like 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Well, maybe 20. Let's take a peek here. So Cardiac made his first appearance, right? So Cardiac comes off as a villain, sometimes anti-hero, and that's it. It's not cardiac arrest. His name's Cardiac, plain and simple. And his first appearance as prior to Cardiac as Elias Witham was an Amazing Spider-Man issue number 342. So it's Amazing Spider-Man issue number 342 on December of 1990. Ooh, okay, he's older than I thought. All right, Elias. Right? But then he made his appearance as Cardiac 2 issues later in the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 343 in February of 1991. So before, it was just him as the man. But then in the suit, yes. And do I still have that picture? Oh, no, picture's packed away. I had a picture, usually I like to keep on the wall, of Cardiac because it was sick. So Cardiac was created by, Cardiac and Elias. They're both created by, the same person, by David Michelini and Eric Larson. And you think Eric Larson? Yes. Eric the Savage Dragon Larson. That Eric Larson.
He sounded familiar. I'm just gonna say.
Eric Larson makes these characters, and I love his art style. And he's great at coming up with all these characters. He does it for Savage Dragon, but prior to that, he was doing some work for all the the main houses, so to speak. And this one is who he made. So he came up with Cardiac, and we wanted to talk about him because one, I like Cardiac's look. Cardiac has like a black costume with the Cardiac signs on it. The signs beep beep beep. From the Life Machine on their costume. He's got shoulder pads. He's got a clear. Yeah, hit it, Rod. Clear. I love this. It's going to be a theme for the episode. He's got a mask on there, and then he's got like white gloves, white boots. Of course, it's back in the 90s, so every hero and villain had like pockets. He had pockets on his boots. He had pockets around his thighs. He had, instead of the, pockets on the forearms, on the end of his gloves, he had pockets everywhere. And then he's got a battle staff, right? And his hands glow with like electricity, and but which is part of his power. So first of all, this guy is, Elias is a physician and a surgeon, and he owns his own, and he's the owner of administration. He's the owner and administrator of a biological research firm. So he's got buku bucks. What?
Just a lot.
Just a lot of money. And he's a brother. One nation. Under a groove. Just for the sound of the funk of it. Thank you.
Clear.
So this is how he started off. And now what's the driving force behind Elias? And why did he become a doctor? Why did he become a surgeon? Why did he turn around and go from this? So he came from normal means. He wasn't born rich. But Elias's brother Joshua, his death was a result of corporate greed. So his brother was sick. He had there was a corporation that had a condition for the cure for his condition, but they didn't want to put it out there because it wasn't profitable. Yeah, they wanted money. So as a pharmaceutical company made the cure, didn't want to put it out there.
Right.
His brother ended up passing away just because of greed. This here was his motivation and pissed off Elias. That's his origin right there. He lost his brother Joshua, and everything he does in the back of his mind is always got something along those lines of correcting wrongs, avenging his brother, and trying to honor his brother. So this is why he really said, okay, I'm never going to be in a position like that. I want to change. And he hit the books, study, and did the best he can, got the grants, but that was his driving force to get him where he wanted to get. And that's for Elias, the man. And he said that he's never going to have anything like that happen again. So he himself, as part of his research, he turned around and he replaced his own heart because he was having heart issues, and he replaced his own heart with a prototype, this beta particle reactor, and it gives power to his body. Now underneath his skin, he's lined his skin with vibranium kind of mesh, and his heart, that beta energy powers it, so it gives him a lot of literally powers. It increases his strength, his durability, his speed, reflexes. So he's pretty much stronger and faster. He turned himself into like the black version of the Bionic Man. Beta power.
Nice. One of his fusing them. You know what? I'll stop right there before I start making it sound like and just like fuse a reactor. And I'll stop. Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. And then he calls himself Cardiac because it references his power, because his power is coming from his heart. Very similar to Iron Man.
There you go.
Right? Particle reactor in his heart keeps him going. We've seen the movies, you read the comic books, generally that's what it is. And because of what he does, this is Elias, he does know, so he has the money to buy vibranium, which is very costly. So he's got money for that. As we like to say, Bruce Wayne's bank account. He's got that kind of clout. He does run into circles of Tony Stark, Hank Pym. He when they go to the social gatherings, Elias is there. He goes to all these fundraisers because he's the owner of a corporation. He's got his own thing. It's just where Tony's more weapons, he's more medical, pharmaceuticals.
Yep.
All right. So this is where he comes and he gets all that. So when that particle accelerator starts, when you see that blue energy around his fist, that's coming from his heart. That's what gives him almost his own version of an iron fist. Beta fist. I think the guy is like awesome. And now when he's around, I would say he's an anti-hero, right? Not full out a villain. At first you might see him as a villain. He goes after other corporations. He's got a Robin Hood mentality. Those corporations that are either corrupt or withholding medications from the general public that would make their lives better. And he goes after them as Cardiac to bring them down, bring things to light. But of course, his methods are very Punisherish.
Sinister, right? Yes, Punisher, sinister type of actions to at least get the end result. In his mindset, he's basically saying the means justifies the ends.
Yes.
So whatever means it needs for him to acquire that task to finish the job, he'll do it. I may hurt a couple of jaws in the process. I may have to take over a couple of banks. Not the banks, but I'm gonna do something a little sinister. It's for good of the people. Wow.
And I mean, and that's what he goes, and that's what he goes after. So he for example, he goes after Stain International to destroy designs for a sonic missile that produces the effects of nerve gas. He goes after that because he doesn't want that to get out there.
Right.
But anyone in his way, though, And then on top of it too, so once again, he said he has the energy that comes from his fist. He has his beta staff, so it's like a quarter staff, and it shoots out energy, and these energy beams that look like cardiac signs. And he's able to ride that energy. He's able to propel himself through the air with this. Like I said, the character was like awesome for so many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So and of course, his first outing, because he was in Spider-Man, guess who he's fighting? He's fighting Spider-Man, and when he fights Spider-Man, he gets away. Spider-Man is never really able to capture him. I mean, yeah. So, sorry, Spider-Man. The newbie got you. As I said, he encountered Spider-Man while raiding Spardine Chemicals, right? And the chemical company is owned by Justin Hammer, which we know Justin Hammer, Hammerhead, is a mob boss within the Marvel universe and deals, not Hammerhead, but Justin Hammer. And Hammerhead someone different. So yeah, Justin Hammer. And he turned around and he fights Spider-Man quite a lot, just up there with Kingpin and the rest of them. Mm-hmm. And he goes after this corporation, which possesses chemicals vital for the production of cocaine. So pretty much he's trying to stop Justin Hammer in his legit business to take away these chemicals that produce cocaine that's getting to the street. Now, he's not going to go about it like the hero and try to get evidence. He just going to go in there, blow stuff up, say, okay, I'm good, and walk away. Now, when Spider-Man sees him, Spider-Man just sees him trying to break into the building, and they end up fighting. Spider-Man's not realizing, okay, he's not trying to just blow up a building to say, $1 billion. He's blowing up the building to say, yeah, stop the flow of cocaine on the streets.
Right.
Drugs are bad. Getting in cardiac's way is even worse.
There you go. I mean, you're right. Like for him to make the approach, he knows by his particular means. Again, he's a surgeon, so he understands the political, not the political, but at least the public sector and the corporate ways of approaching and doing certain things. Yeah, I don't think Elias understood, and Elias was thinking like, you know what? I'll just book an appointment. I'll just reach out to your secretary and just set up a meeting Friday at 2:30. I'll come by your office and we'll have a discussion and say, Justin, I think you should stop this. He knows it's not going to happen. He has to go by another means. Cardiac, clear, and just shock him to death and say, listen, you got to stop what you're doing. You're not going to listen? I'll do it the Punisher way.
Well, that's it. He doesn't have the patience for it. He's just fed up because keep in mind now, right? It was a corporation that was responsible in his mind, responsible for the death of his brother. 100%. So when he goes over there and he blows up that building and destroys that chemicals that doing that, Spider-Man can't stop him. Justin Hammer turns around and is like, aha, I have resources. Okay, it's time for the big boys play. It's like WCW. And Justin turns around and he pulls a Ted Turner and he brings in someone who's like would be an outsider, which is Rhino.
Reference. Oh!
And brings in Rhino to go and stop Cardiac. So Cardiac gets into it's a three-way fight between Spider-Man, Rhino, and Cardiac.
Mm-hmm.
Cardiac holds his own.
Yep.
Okay. Keep in mind now, this is Spider-Man he's dealing with, and Rhino. Which was nice because I haven't seen Rhino show up in the storyline in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a subject for a different day where they got to bring back some of the classic heroes and just the classic villains and let them at it again instead of always trying up with the new ones. The classic ones have a lot still of meat. There's still a lot of meat left on the bone. Mm-hmm. And he gets into a whole fight with that, right? This is Cardiac's motivation is to make things better, but he goes about it more of a Punisher kind of way as opposed to a Spider-Man kind of way. Right. There was another company that made these dolls for kids, but they were defective and they were causing kids to die because it was emitting,
what is it, the gases? Not the gases, but
the chemicals
off the, yeah. Well, you're saying exactly that.
Right. It's like picture years ago for those who might have been aware. There's a thing that happened where a lot of toys that were coming out, they had lead paint on it and they had to recall those toys because people weren't realizing the company was using lead paint, which was dangerous for kids because as a young child, as a toddler, a lot of times kids would play with stuff. They put their fingers in their mouth. They might put the toy in their mouth and it's lead paint. That ain't good for anybody. If Cardiac existed today, he would have gone after that company and he wouldn't have said, hey, cease and desist. He would have said, he would have been walking away and people were like, this building's on fire. What's going on? And you would have seen Cardiac going away saying, don't make any more. And he just would have walked off. He would have walked right by the camera saying, all right, come at me, bro. Don't use lead paint. And he would have walked away. It's like the G.I. Joe message,
It's a public service announcement. It's a public service announcement. That's exactly what we're doing.
That's it. Public service announcement. This is Cardiac. I burnt down the building. You're using lead paint. Don't do it again. I'll be back. See you later. And he would leave.
Out.
Yeah.
Clear.
And Spider-Man would Spider-Man would show up like, you can't burn down buildings. He'd be like, come at me, bro. And they would fight, have their fisticuffs. And Spider-Man would be like, where'd he go? I got to save these people. Oh no. Yeah. Spider-Man, save those people. I know you're going to save them instead of stopping me. Come on. That's the smart thing to do, right? Spider-Man, don't you want to help them? Don't you want to help them? Isn't that your code? I know you're going to help them, Spider-Man. By the way, I'm leaving so you can help those people. All right. We'll talk another time. I think there's a company over there that's using, a certain type of paint on toys that shouldn't be used. You save those people. I'm going to go and burn down that building too.
Deuces. What?
Yeah. That's his thing because he doesn't want any child to suffer. He doesn't want any person to suffer. It's not even just children, just anyone to suffer. If a company is making shortcuts and doing certain things, he's not going to try to use his money or influence to buy the company and then get him to stop. He's just going to stop the company and those associated with it. Yep. And a lot of the times when you look at the people associated with it, you're looking at, Stain Internationals, right? That's Iron Man villain right there. You're looking at Justin Hammer. They're not nice people. So clearly everyone knows who's doing wrong, even if you prove it or not. He's not looking for proof. He's like, I know you're a criminal. I know you're a gangster. All right. I'm going to hit you where it hurts. I don't care if you have a legitimate business as a front. Here we go. I'm taking it down. So there's a lot to unpack there from this character, and the fact that he's taken on Spider-Man, Rhino, and others. He dealt with Wolverine. So he's always shown up in stories as a villain, but then you realize, well, okay, he's bad, but he's not per se your typical villain trying to take over the world. He's just using the means to make things better. And then he has his own company on top of that. And even some of his technology, when you talk about it, he didn't develop all this on his own. Some of this technology, especially for his beta particle heart, he got that from Tony Stark. So he got like Tony's plans. He's got like Stark technology that he himself has modified to fit his own uses. So one, I think he could have been in, when they did Iron Man Armor Wars, he should have been more of a part of it than that. He didn't have armor per se, but he had Stark technology that he's modified. Yeah, that's my take on it. So with that, everything he's done, what we're missing here, in my thing, is he should have had at least a miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he should have had a miniseries. An ongoing series, I don't know if it would have enough meat on the bones, or writers would know how to write him. They would change him too much. I would love to see a series, but give me a couple of miniseries. What's your thoughts, Rod?
So here's the thing. With Cardiac, I gotta go back to Elias. With Elias, this character is so underdeveloped or under expanded on. Is really Barry said a couple of things, like saying he's at the level of Tony Stark. He has his own company. He's an inventor. So it's not like you can get the plans to Tony Stark's plans and then, okay, what do I do with this stuff? I have no clue what to do with it. He is a research doctor in that sense, but he has the capacity to be an inventor because again, he created the particle beta for his heart. He created the quarterstaff. There's in the following episode in 345 where he's now fighting Boomerang, and basically there's a feature where he's on a boat with Spider-Man. Spider-Man again trying to stop him from doing something. Boomerang was there, and basically my guy decided to take his quarterstaff and extend it out, and there's basically like a flying. Basically, it's like a drone. Imagine like a retract. Think like a bat wing. Like if Batman has a crazy idea of just saying, "I'm just flying out solo," basically like a hover type of air drone type would basically grapple onto his quarterstaff and fly him off. So how would you come up with that kind of idea? You have to be an inventor. You have to be someone who has the ability to, to have those type of resources. He has the money. He clearly understands he has the money. He has the resources. He's able to create something. He's bent on righting the wrong. His methods, again, may not be the actual straight and narrow, but from his standpoint, he feels the best thing for me to do is to hurt them where it'll hurt them in their pockets type of scenario. He understands at least the corporate aspect of the business aspect. Like if I stop their organization and their production, they're going to go to a standstill. What's a better way? Let me take out the resources and stop them. Don't give them a chance to regroup along that line. So I go with you in the sense of having some type of mini series or something like that and expand on not only the storyline, what's the motivation? We understand because of his brother's passing, that was his motivation to basically turn him into, you would think, and look like it's the villain origin story. It's more of the, as Barry says, it's more of the anti-hero origin story. And we have the ability now to kind of like dig deeper into that and just see the similarities and see how, give him the ability to have that duality lifestyle in the sense of looking at things from not say a criminal's viewpoint, but show that the results that he wants. Sorry, the end basically goes back to the end justifies the means from his viewpoint. That's really what it comes down to it.
Yeah.
So it's the characters we don't have. You don't have that often. You can tell when a person is literally, if a villain is a villain,
Hmm.
yeah, everybody has their point of view. The end justifies the means, but you know that they're doing that as I'm being a villain. I'm getting my quarterly quote for the month. I'm gonna do
Yeah,
something bad.
it's all selfish. It's selfish motivation.
Completely, completely. So
And with him, he's not.
and it's not, and that's exactly it. So this is where you're right. Like his character doesn't make enough appearances to give the reader a full understanding of his story. So give an opportunity that we can have like a some type of miniseries and just, kind of dive into his storyline and then basically give his give his characters some a deeper and wider arc. I really feel that people will gravitate to him and understand that say, oh, okay, he has a great power, he has a great, a great mindset, and realizing that he's at that threshold, and maybe someone can write him in to say like maybe later on in life, I can't remember, I have to look back and see if he really became good. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
To my knowledge,
Yeah.
he's still an anti-hero.
Yeah, he still, to a certain degree. I mean, at one point he teams up with the superior Spider-Man. He fights him, so
Right.
him and Spider-Man have this kind of, let's say, love-hate relationship. So here's
Right.
what I want to think. The reason I'm mentioning this character is because, I mean, one, I think the look was cool. Eric Larson's able to come up with these character designs that
100%.
looks so good. So I try to look and find more about the creation of them, and I couldn't find much about the motivation behind it. But Eric Larson's got, like, he's a plethora of characters that he can just put out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I like everything about it. Where I think would be interesting and to get more from this character would be his mind frame, because all we know is his brother died young. Corporation had the cure. They didn't want to do it because it wasn't profitable.
Right.
Okay, that's on the surface. Truly,
Mm-hmm.
how did it affect him? What was the relationship between him and his brother? What was it like growing up? Give me more of that
Right.
to add into this character. Give me maybe some of the struggles where it started defining his personality, because not that your brother dies and you're like, I'm bringing down every corporation. It's like your brother dies, but then there had been other things along the way. That was the catalyst that said, I need to make the world a better place.
Right.
And you start from there. Okay. But at one point, you make a decision to make yourself a cyborg. What
Mm-hmm.
led to that decision to end those means? Did he try to be cardiac prior having superpowers? Don't know. They just said he got, the beta particle reactor in his heart. He replaced his heart. Why did he replace his heart? Did he have heart disease? Right? How was the operation done? Because once again, did he design machines to take out his heart and put this machine in there? And really, I want to know more about the process of him becoming cardiac. We just got cardiac backstory, away you go. But to put vibranium in under your skin,
Yeah.
okay,
How
what's
would
the
you know?
process?
Right. How would you know? How would you know? Like, exactly. Showing certain things. What gave me the idea to believe that using a vibranium type of body mesh underneath the skin, how would that, that weaving mesh, how would that work out? Like, what motivated him to create that idea? And you
Yeah,
actually said a good part in regards to about the heart. Because let's even say, what if his younger brother, like maybe they both had the
defective
medical issue,
heart
that
disease
defective
runs in
heart,
family.
exactly. Right, it runs in the family. The younger brother, it may affect him earlier, and it might affect him quicker. But he knew, hey, I'm gonna have something similar like this, maybe something with the heart. That's what was also his other motivation to create the
Right.
beta particle heart. So basically said, okay, I can get past that. I wish, again, this could be one of those things like all I needed time to create it, like it was probably still like in beta form. It was the beta particle, but in a sense, like it was still in the early stages that he couldn't risk it to give it to his brother. He needed the cure from the corporation to at least sustain his brother. If not cure him, at least sustain him
Mm-hmm.
enough time for me to make sure I have that 110% that thing is going to work. By the time he probably had it 95%, unfortunately, his brother passed away. And that just actually the extra fuel that made him finish it, complete it. But it hurt him that all I needed, it's not like I don't have money. I could afford to get the, like, not say I could afford, but
Yes.
it was really high. But he was like, made it like they didn't want to release that. Like if they released it at a certain amount, I'm sure I would have been able to afford a cure for my brother. they didn't release it because it wasn't profitable for the company.
Yeah, exactly.
So it just shows that, again, that could be another viewpoint of the motivation that Elias had to go through. That I was right there. The end result was right there. I could have replaced my brother's heart with his beta particle heart, but he passed away. But if I had that, I could have hold on for another 2 months, and that's the remaining time I needed to get everything taken care of.
Exactly. And then, and what relationship did him and his brother have? Obviously, he loves his brother, right?
Yes.
And I'm not knocking that relationship, but I mean, when I say what relationship had, were they best friends? Did he go out, did he just look at them as an idol? Was his brother into sports? Was he into sports? Did he have heart problems? As he said, did it run in a family? So was this part of his motivation for him to become a surgeon, a physician? Because that would be it, right? To that point, I can understand. But then something else had to happen along the way for him to turn around and say, I need to bring these companies down. How am I going to do it? Like, Batman sat there in his living room saying, I need to scare criminals. And a bat comes crashing through the window in one of his origin stories, depending which one you go with. And he's like, aha, I'll dress as a bat. Right? It wasn't like a heart came flying through the window and went, aha, I'm going to turn around and replace my heart. Okay, it's exactly what it is. So what was it that made him? I understand what the motivation was that made him a surgeon and a physician.
Right.
What was the motivation that made him say, I need to replace my heart, but up the ante on it, to give me more power than to take that to be a costume vigilante? 100%. What was it? Did he have some run-ins with maybe some of the seedier side of hospital care with Justin Hammer? Obadiah Stane and seeing what they were doing and turned around and say, no, and of course it would make sense, right? Because Justin Hammer was, he's got supervillains on a Rolodex. Come on, he called it the Rhino. Obadiah Stane, come on, he dealt with Iron Man many times, and however you want to look at it. So did he say, I need to be something better than that? Because not everyone's going to turn around and say, I have that thought of, I need to bring down a company. I'm going to be a costume vigilante. Okay, you can be. And you didn't need to make yourself a cyborg, because look at as I said, we keep referencing him, Punisher. He has no superpowers. Well, retcon now, but he had no superpowers. He's just a normal guy with proper training. And if you look at like Batman is just a regular guy with training and gadgets. He's almost that sense of a Batman per se, where he's got the money, he's got the gadgets, and what's in all those pockets? I need to know. That's something you never get an answer for in the 90s. What is in all those pockets?
Listen, I agree with you in regards of the costume. I am just like you in that sense. I want to see that costume in real life. I want to see that costume in real life.
The original costume, that's what I want, with all the pockets.
Just all the pockets. Because you got to look at it in the standpoint, when you see it, like Barry said, basically his whole outfit is he's very dark. He has like white shoulder pads in that sense, a white chest, like across his chest, and his knee pads and his shoes and everything, like it's all white. Basically, think of like Deadpool in the sense about the amount of pockets that he has, at least like Deadpool has on his legs and wraps around his thighs, like that. But he has the flexibility. Again, we go back to his power by having the beta particle reactor mesh through the weaving through the vibrating mesh underneath his skin, which gives him quick agility, speed, and everything like that. Listen, those things are heavy. We saw Batman. We saw how much that was for even just to do his tactical type of action. But he doesn't have the flexibility like Cardiac has. I'll even say this way: look at Cable. Look how many pockets that Cable has. You think Cable could be bouncing around and jumping around basically like Spider-Man? Look, Spider-Man got no pockets.
No pockets.
I wonder sometimes where he keeps his phone. Where he keeps his at least his $10 bills when he wants to get a little snack and he has to go down to the convenience store to get a little snack. Go to Subway. Man got no pockets.
No pockets.
Cardio got pockets.
Right? Okay, so that was a 90s thing. That was a 90s. See, so if you come back, I want the original costume. I want the Eric Larson costume. I don't want the updated one. I want the Eric Larson costume with all the pockets. That being said, I want to see the pockets being used. I want, for once, be it a hero or a villain that has that many pockets, to have something in there. So here's how I see it in my mind. In my mind, I expect him to have like a lot of gadgets.
Mm-hmm.
Right, he's got the abilities, he's got the strength and all that stuff. But I want to see him with a lot of gadgets. Maybe a gadget in one of the pockets to disable electronic alarms, and maybe a glass cutter to get through certain windows. And I don't know if he's got a credit card in there to cover certain costs or whatever. I want a cell phone. I want to see a lot of gadgets that he keeps in these pockets for different situations. If you draw with all those pockets, I want to see him used. And that's where it comes down to. And I think that would add more to it. I want to see, I really believe even though he's a surgeon and a doctor, he's a tinkerer. He's a gadget person. Yes. He had to be a gadget person for everything he's done. When you see his penthouse office where it has all the machinery that's hidden away, like in the desk and in the walls and all that, that's where it's up there with a lot of the other villains and heroes we've seen over the years. Completely. To use some of it, I want to see more use of it.
And it's funny that you say that, right? Because again, not even the rehash it, he's a surgeon. And that's why earlier you heard me talking, and I'm not trying to say that he's an inventor, but his whole lair was surrounded with so many tech that you have no choice but to think. Like, although they have him written down as a surgeon, and he's just a very business minded, like I said, he understands the corporate world and stuff along that line. But the amount of tech this guy has that no one really is supposed to know type of scenarios, like he goes into a particular sliding room, hidden room. Oh, what's behind that wall? Oh, there's nothing behind that wall. Then you open it up and metal gadgets. Yeah. Okay. So you're telling me this guy's not an inventor? Oh, come on.
Come on, son.
Come on, son.
Exactly. So, he has to be. He has to be. So there is a couple of things. One, we know where his family motivation was and what it came out to. Two, what's his personal relationships as? Is he seeing someone, dating somebody? Mm-hmm. Three, the main point is, who else knows that he is or could be cardiac? Because if you're replacing your heart surgery, you have to have someone, either you make a robot that can do it for you and do a whole Tony Stark Iron Man kind of scenario, or which goes to the gadgets, or someone had to do it for you and monitor and help you when you're doing all that, when you're putting a vibranium mesh underneath your skin. They had to be on board. Just like Punisher had microchip, who's there? Who's there for him? Just like Batman has, I think his name's Harvey or Harold, who helps maintain stuff in the Batcave. He's a hunchback, but he's a genius. He maintains the Batmobile and all the gadgets within the Batcave. You don't see him too often. He always pops once in a while. The hardcore fans will know what I'm talking about. So then who's the one helping him assist in all this? Is it a family member? Is it a friend? Is it, someone behind the scenes? Yeah. Let's get some more going on with cardiac with that one. So that's where it's at. I think those are questions I would love to see answered. Mm-hmm. Clearly, you start to give him a rogues gallery. So any businessman who is a villain is someone he would chase down. So his rogues gallery is almost somewhat similar to who Spider-Man's rogue gallery would be. And it might even crisscross to some of Punisher's rogue gallery. But let's put it this way, you got Obadiah Stane. Okay, that's one there. Justin Hammer. Okay, that's another one there. There's a guy called the Broker who goes and gets all the supervillains, mercenaries for these guys as bodyguards and work. All right, he could be a secondary person. But I think it would be awesome to see, in my opinion, Cardiac take on Roxanne Oil. So Roxanne is a company within Marvel, and they have their hands in everything. And if you read deep enough, you would realize they were also part of Alpha Flight, trying to get some of that stuff, technology and so forth. You would realize that when we talked about Deathstroke the Demolisher, right? In one of the runs, in Volume 3, where he comes back and he's more of a pacifist, but he gets into the Deathlock army body, his brain gets put in there. He was working for Roxanne Oil. So Roxanne has been always that underlying company that's always doing things wrong. Other heroes fight them for a storyline, but as a continuous person to deal with Roxanne, and they go by Roxanne Oil, they change their name to Roxanne, so Roxxon. I would love to see Cardiac, interact with them, as Elias and as Cardiac. They have the means, and it would also maybe now introduce someone that's new to take on Cardiac, his own, number one nemesis, so to speak, working on behalf for them. And then you can get into a whole lot of, don't make it too much environmental stuff. It can be very little, but let's keep it really true to what the character is. Corrupt corporations.
There you go.
And him trying to break it down. But, he's seen, his methods are seen one way, but his means, his end goal is to do something right. It's just that he's not going to go through all the red tape, and try to, I want to buy the company, refarm the company. No. He might try that, but his whole thing is a hard stop.
He basically giving that vigilante, that Batman type of vigilante,
yes,
in a sense, like at night, this is what I got to do when I'm at night. When
someone needs to fight. Yeah, someone needs to fight the corporations for the everyday man, and that's how he sees him. He sees himself like Dwayne Johnson, the people's champ. He's the champ to fight the big corporations to try to keep them honest. And what other companies are there? I mean, there's evil organizations like Hydra and AIM. That's not what he's going to do. But Roxanne Oil or Roxanne or whatever the company's going by, that is really a good villain corporation for him to take on continuously. And because of their resources, all right, that's your ongoing nemesis right there, along with some of those other gang, villains that own companies, shell companies, and he's trying to bring them down, bring them to light, or not even trying to take him to the justice system. He's just trying to stop them.
Yeah, that's exactly his whole goal is just to stop cardiac arrest. To stop
Clear. So that being said, we've talked about that. So here we go. So one, I'm just going to say a side note. I would like to see a couple of miniseries done properly. I would love to see the original creators come back to do a miniseries on Cardiac, and maybe throw in Roxanne Oil. That's my Hail Mary. Woo! Pass. That's a dream. All right, now let's get to the point here. We're going to talk about it. Let's see. Okay, how do you want to adapt this, Rod? If you had to turn around and make Cardiac today, how would you want to see it in one of the formats? What format would you see it in?
I definitely want to see it live. Definitely with at least today's, CGI type of technology of just giving you the imagery. Because again, another thing Barry did say that the pulse that comes out of the staff is like a cardiac type of, up and down.
Yes.
But another way for anybody to have another visual, think of that, but also kind of merge in the eye beams from Darkseid.
Yes.
Anybody knows that'll be the closest way, because it won't last as long. Like it normally lasts, it's last long. These are shorter pulses of interjection, but it does a similar type of thing. So with that, I would definitely want to see some type of live action one. I had a person in my mind. Actually, let me just go back. Yeah, so I wouldn't mind a series.
Okay.
Literally, give me like at least 2 to 3 series. Now, the reason why, like you're saying, you want Roxanne. I want Roxanne. You're saying Obadiah, whatever. I want even Kingpin. I want to throw in, because again, the viewpoint I catch from Cardiac is that he, like Barry said, he deals with this pocket of people, the criminal-minded people. Even though you don't hear anybody talk about, I want to bring Norman Osborn. I want to throw in a little Norman Osborn in there. Let's just say per season, he's just chosen to each 3 seasons. Roxanne, Norman, Kingpin, and just give me 3 and whatever, because they're doing some type of criminal activity. Yep. And he just now turning himself into into a mystery type of storyline. I want the show to have that type of mystery. Like, okay, what's going on? Now I'm going to start putting clues together and trying to figure out what's going on. Give me about a 12 to 15 episode and basically just carry through. It's just be, not say generic, but that whoever he has his eyes locked on, that's who he's dealing with it until he gets that task, that mission done. Okay? Now,
gotcha. Okay.
I wanted to go with someone who basically can show the acting chops of being someone who is compassionate,
Mhm.
because we need to find out. We need someone to be able to dig deep and give us a 3-dimensional understanding of what motivated him. His brother passed away, right? No, but like we said earlier, it just wasn't like he passed away because the cure wasn't available, and then he just kind of like, that's it. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna go and get myself a new outfit. I'm gonna go and do that. No, there had to have been some kind of connection with him and the brother.
Mhm.
He had to have been attempting to find a cure for a long time. Maybe going to all these different corporations and just finding out that, okay, you're a little sinister, whatever the case to be. I don't really need to worry too much. I just need the cure. But then you find out, everybody has something. So anyways, I wanted to go with Sterling Brown, Sterling K. Brown. The name doesn't refresh your memory. He was in, if you know the TV show This Is Us. He's
Oh,
the main
okay.
plain black actor with the glasses. He was also in um uh Wakanda. In Black Panther.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Hotel
yeah, yeah.
Artemis. Yes. So I wanted someone in the sense that I want to give the ability to understand if you're of that particular. So I didn't want anybody young. I wanted someone at least, seasoned in the sense like
Of
you're looking
course.
like you're like 40s. You're in your mid to late 40s, mid 40s type of scenario. Again, all that time he's been a runner. He's been someone who's actually had his body well tuned already. He's not an athlete per se, but he's
Okay.
always kept himself in good shape type of
Mhm.
scenario.
Yes.
That's where the weaving of the vibranium comes in to assist him to give him that little extra. We're passing 10. Oh, we're at 13. We're at 14. Give him that extra little juice, that extra type of ability that not the common man would have. But give him the ability to surpass, surpass Spider-Man and Rhino in those type of fighting, activities. So I wanted him because again, and This Is Us, you know how that story goes from that show. He has that family values. He
Yeah.
understands, like he has a connection. He'll make us understand and feel the connection between him and his brother. Give us an understanding. Well, this is what's really motivating me, and then realizing that wait, other people are going to suffer and maybe neglecting the resources that they should have to them because these big corporations, which is undermined and been backed by evil, henchmen, big bosses on the top level are holding it down. That's the reason why he goes against. That's his motivation. So I wanted him. I could see Sterling doing that. Again, he's proven to us that he has that type of uh characteristic to just basically bring that character and just give a little extra clear life into him. If This Is Us.
I like that. I like that. All right. All right. That's a good actor, though. Wow. Well done. Okay. Wow. Wow. I'm going a little bit of a different, I guess, a different direction. So I
Mm-hmm.
agree with you. Give me a limited series. Give me a limited
Yeah.
series, maybe 6 episodes. Season doesn't even have to be like 10, 12 or whatever. A good
Oh,
6 season, really short, limited series, right?
okay,
Six,
okay,
no more than 8.
okay.
Still the same thing. Like I like how you're saying Norman Osborn, and I think it'd be nice to shine a light on some of the corporate villains in the Marvel universe and bring him in that way. Let him work. I would love Roxanne to be, or Roxanne Oil. I keep saying Roxanne Oil to really be the driving force behind a lot of it, right? Let them have their backroom dealings and trying to take him down, and he goes in their way. Okay, so that being said, here's the actor I'm going with. It's just, you would laugh. I wanted an actor. Once again, you said older, a little bit more seasoned. So I'm not going with a young actor. That's first and foremost.
Mm.
I'm going with an actor that is used to action, an actor that is, used to action, an actor that has been in this world ish.
Okay.
Seeing that it's Marvel, it's part DC. So I'm going with my homeboy, Walter Emmanuel Jones. You might know him as the original Black Ranger. Doot, 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 doot.
Okay.
Right? So I know the character when you look at his stats on Marvel. he's supposed to be like 6'2", 6'5", 300 pounds, right? And the 300 pounds is not so much because of his size, but because he has a mesh in his body. Got it. But when you look at a lot of the other heroes that they're using and they're casting, these guys are not really representing, some of them physically, what the characters were. If you look at who plays Moon Knight, he's not a 6 foot something character. If you look who plays Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, where he's supposed to be like 5'2", Hugh Jackman is 6'2", right? Okay, God. Robert Downey Jr. is not a 6 foot something tall man. So Walter is about 5'8", and that's fine. No, I'm not knocking on the height. I'm just saying that you're going to get a physical difference. But Walter is he's in his 50s, right? I know he's coming back now to do, Power Rangers Forever. He's doing that movie. It's coming on Netflix very shortly. Or by the time this episode's out, maybe it's already out. So I'm looking forward to watching that. I've seen him act in different things. So forget Power Rangers for half a second. So Power Rangers, he has the physicality part for it. He's got the martial arts skill. He's got the physicality. He does all that. He's also a dancer. In real life, Walter does competitive dancing. So he does have that background from ballroom dancing to hip hop. That is all true to him. And he brought that into Zach when he played in Power Rangers.
Right.
So he's got all that there. He's seasoned actor. If you look at some of his work in the past, he's had work on The Shield. Right, that was a very gritty TV show, and he played a gangster in there, and that was Michael Chiklis. So he's got all that stuff going on. All the time you see Walter, he's always smiling most of the time. He's always in a good mood. That's the characters he plays. But when he gets a chance to play someone that's a little bit more serious, I don't think we've seen as far as he can go yet. But it's there in him, and I believe that he can do it. So taking that in. With that look, is he got maybe a smaller build than what the character is in the comic book? Yes. But you put the costume on him, you're going to get some good action sequences with him.
Okay.
He can, he can play a doctor. He's got, black don't crack. So it's always hard, right? But he can do the hairstyle. You put him in a nice suit. Walter is good to go. He is Elias. And then you're going to get the duality of him dressed as Cardiac, playing out those action sequences. So he does have that range. We haven't seen it fully. Give him a role to let him have that range. And I think it'd be a nice, pleasant surprise. And, even if you watch some of the original Power Rangers episodes, some of them got very serious. And he played that very well. A lot of people look at Power Rangers, kid show. No, there's a lot more psychological things to it. Good on him for Walter for playing it the way he did. So I would love to see Walter come back. Okay. In a main role by himself. Like he's the main guy, not part of a team. And that's my Elias right there. So I would do it as a limited series. And if it was to even take off and they want to continue it, I would do it more as an adult-themed cartoon, like Invincible.
Got it.
Right? Or Hit Monkey on Disney. But still keep Walter as the voice. Establish him as the voice actor and let him go forward as the voice actor. Get that Disney money, Walter. Get that Disney money.
Got it. Okay. All right. That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, you're right. It's like the action aspect of it. I could definitely agree and say Walter would be there. So yeah, definitely giving him an opportunity because you don't see him doing that type of dramatic type of approach that often. So it'd be something that's different. So you can give a different spin on that. So definitely that's cool. That's cool.
And I mean, working on Power Rangers, let's be real. It was aimed towards kids, but he had to be sympathetic in a lot of the times, right? When the original team was out there, let's be real. He was the second in command. Before Tommy came on board, the Black Ranger was second in command when the Red Ranger was occupied. He was the number 2 guy on the team. So he can do it. He can absolutely do it. That's who I'm going with. So, as I said, Walter right now is in his 50s. I think he's like 52. He's got the physique. He's got the acting skills. He's still got the martial arts aspect. You give him a quarterstaff, let him do the fight sequences in there, and you can bring that up, with some good flashbacks with him. And really, okay, Walter, we're going to dig deep with your acting skills. Let's go. You have it. It's time to show it.
Okay.
That's who I'm going with. He could be the sympathetic surgeon and the vigilante at night busting people in the head.
Yeah. Clear.
Nice.
Okay, cool. So your choice is Walter Jones, and my choice is Sterling K. Brown.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So that's what brings us to it. So any last thoughts before we wrap this up, Rod?
You know what? Listen, the character is a unique one. Having someone who, as I said, kind of centers around being an anti-hero, but his end goal / interaction is always on the corporation that's done the common man wrong. He literally is like a modern day Robin Hood in that regard. So, I mean, having that type of character is in life stake. Like, definitely, we definitely want, this is a Marvel product, an IP, and we definitely like to see him have a reference, have some type of presence in the Marvel universe at some point in time. But definitely he's someone different. So I would like to see that, because it's just a character who you don't see that type of character that often, right?
No.
And again, like you said, having Eric Larson's creation there it's a great thing. I mean, because the time that he came out, the 90s version of him, the way that suit was set and created, it looked very future George Jetson, ahead of its time at that time, which I think will be able to transcend very well into modern day. Like, someone could be able to create that outfit and be able to say, yeah, that looks okay. That's not that. We don't have to touch it up too much. We don't have to touch it up too much at all.
No. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's all it is.
100%.
Yeah. I agree with you. The only thing we said, we need Public Enemy to do the theme song, Fight the Power. There we go. So I agree with you in all that. This would bring a different thing. Not every Marvel property or every show needs to be about a superhero. Let's be real.
100%.
Right? Let's get in some shades of gray here and let's see what happens. So that's what I'm going with. We'll wrap this show up and they'll say, thank you everyone for tuning in. Remember, like, subscribe, and share, rate, and review. Don't let the show be a secret. We have a Patreon page. We have our coffee page. If you want to do a one-time tip, that helps the show grow for us to buy, new equipment, keep updated and stuff like that. We appreciate it. We appreciate all of you jumping on board and been on this journey with us. We're still going, and we're just next episode is episode 100. So, we're very excited about that. That being said, remember, this whole world was started with a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming. We're out. Do it.
Love it.